February 1959, deep within the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains, something happened. Something so strange, so violent, so completely unexplainable that over 60 years later, no one has ever truly agreed on what went wrong. 9 experienced hikers, young, strong, skilled. They set out on a journey and never came back. What rescuers found would become one of the most disturbing mysteries in modern history, because whatever happened that night, it didn't just kill them, it terrified them. Igor Dyatlov was not reckless. At just 23 years old, he was already an experienced hiker and a natural leader. This expedition wasn't unusual for him. It was challenging, yes, but nothing beyond his abilities or the abilities of his team. Their goal was to reach a remote mountain deep in the northern Ural range. The group originally consisted of 10 members, but one turned back early due to illness. That decision would save his life. The remaining 9 pressed on. Each one trained, each one prepared. They carried proper equipment, they documented their journey with photographs and journal entries, and in those early days, everything seemed normal. You can still see the photos. Smiling faces, snow-covered trees, moments of laughter frozen in time. There was no sign of what was coming, but as they moved deeper into the mountains, the weather began to change. The winds grew stronger, the snow heavier, visibility dropped. On February 1st, conditions worsened enough that the group had to make a decision. They could descend into the forest for shelter or push forward and set camp on the exposed slope. For reasons still debated, they chose the slope. The name of that mountain was Kolatsyakal. In the language of the indigenous Mansi people, it means mountain of the dead. That night, something happened, something so sudden and so terrifying that 9 experienced hikers made a decision that defies logic. Weeks later, when search teams finally reached the area, they found the tent, half buried in snow. At first glance, it looked abandoned, but then they noticed something deeply unsettling. The tent had been cut open. From the inside, not torn by wind, not damaged by wildlife, cut deliberately as if they were desperate to escape, quickly, violently, without even taking the time to use the entrance. And then, they followed the tracks. Footprints leading away from the tent, some barefoot, some in socks, some with only a single shoe. The tracks moved in a straight line down the slope, not running, not chaotic, just walking into the freezing darkness, into temperatures that could kill in minutes. Why would they leave the safety of their tent like that? About a mile away, beneath a large cedar tree, the first bodies were found. 2 of them, barely clothed, frozen. Their hands were damaged. Torn skin, burn marks. Above them, branches were broken high up the tree, 15 feet or more, as if they had tried to climb. As if they were trying to escape something or see something coming. Beneath the tree, the remains of a small fire. They had tried to survive, but it wasn't enough. Between the tree and the tent, more bodies were discovered. 3 more, including Igor Dyatlov. They were positioned as if they had been trying to go back to the tent, back to safety. But one by one they fell, collapsed in the snow, just short of where they needed to be. Months passed before the final 4 were found, buried deep beneath snow in a nearby ravine. And what investigators discovered there made the mystery even darker. These hikers had suffered massive internal injuries, crushed ribs, fractured skulls, injuries compared to those seen in high-speed car accidents, and yet there were almost no external wounds, no cuts, no defensive injuries. Just devastating force from something unseen. One of the hikers was missing her tongue. No clear explanation was ever given. No evidence of an animal attack. No signs of struggle. Just gone. As the investigation continued, more strange details emerged. Some of the clothing tested positive for radiation. Why was never fully explained. Witnesses in nearby areas reported seeing strange orange lights in the sky around the time of the incident, floating, moving, silently, unidentified. And then, the official conclusion came. After months of investigation, the case was closed. The cause of death, a compelling natural force. Nothing more, no explanation of what that force was. No answers to the questions that mattered, just silence. The files were sealed, and the mystery buried. Over the years, many theories have tried to explain what happened. Some believe it was an avalanche, a sudden collapse of snow forcing the group to flee, but the evidence doesn't fully support it. The slope wasn't steep enough, the tent wasn't crushed, and the footprints showed controlled movement, not panic. Others believe it was a secret military test, experimental weapons, radiation exposure, strange lights in the sky. But if that were true, why leave the scene as it was? Why no clear evidence? Another theory suggests infrasound, low-frequency vibrations caused by wind, capable of inducing fear, but fear alone doesn't explain the injuries. It doesn't explain why they never returned to the tent. And then, there are the theories that can't be proven but refuse to go away. Something in the darkness, something watching, something that made 9 people choose the freezing cold over staying where they were. Think about that. They didn't just leave, they cut their way out. They walked into certain death, underdressed, unprepared, because whatever was inside that tent with them, or whatever was approaching, was worse. To this day, no one has been able to explain every detail. Not the injuries, not the behavior, not the fear. The Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in history because it doesn't just leave questions. It leaves a feeling, a quiet, creeping realization that something happened on that mountain, something we still don't understand, and maybe we're not supposed to.